You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Single sign-on, often shortened to SSO, is a system that lets you log in once and then use many different applications without having to type your password again and again. Imagine working in an office building with many doors. Instead of carrying a giant key ring, you carry one badge that opens every door you're allowed to use. That is the promise of SSO. From a security standpoint, it helps reduce weak password habits, like writing them on sticky notes or reusing the same password everywhere. From a usability perspective, it saves time, reduces frustration, and makes the digital experience much smoother. Another benefit of single sign-on is that it centralizes login checks into one place. This means the organization can enforce strong security rules in one system, instead of hoping that every separate application protects logins correctly. For example, a company might decide that every login must include multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication means combining a password with another type of proof, such as a code sent to your phone or an approval in an app. With SSO, that rule only needs to be set once at the central login system, and it then applies to all connected applications. While single sign-on makes life easier, it also comes with challenges. Because one account now unlocks access to many systems, the stakes are higher if that central login is compromised. You can think of it like a master key, very convenient when in the right hands, but dangerous if stolen. This is why SSO requires careful design, monitoring, and safeguards. It is not simply about convenience, but about balancing convenience with strong, reliable protection. Behind the scenes, single sign-on works through special communication standards called protocols. The most common are Security Assertion Markup Language, often called SAML, OAuth 2.0, and OpenID Connect, sometimes shortened to OIDC. Security Assertion Markup Language is widely used in traditional business environments. It uses a structured message called an assertion to tell one application that another trusted system has already checked your identity. This is like a signed note from a trusted friend saying, "Yes, I saw this person show their ID." Different protocols serve different purposes. Security Assertion Markup Language is common in older but still widely used enterprise applications. OAuth 2.0 is popular for mobile applications and programming interfaces, also called APIs. OpenID Connect is especially useful for modern web apps that need to both confirm identity and delegate limited permissions. Many companies use a mix of these protocols depending on the needs of the system. Understanding the differences is less about memorizing technical details and more about recognizing which tool fits which job. To really understand single sign-on, you must understand the difference between authentication and authorization. Authentication answers the question, "Who are you?" Authorization answers, "Now that I know who you are, what are you allowed to do?" In an SSO system, authentication is handled by the identity provider, often shortened to IDP. This is the central service that checks your username, password, or multi-factor code. After authentication is complete, the identity provider creates a proof of your identity. That proof is then sent to the system you are trying to use, often called the resource server or service provider. That system checks the proof before allowing you in. This separation means you only log in once, but each service still enforces its own access rules. It is like checking in at the main entrance of a building but still needing a badge scan to enter certain restricted rooms. A practical example is logging into a company's main portal one time. After that, you can access your email, human resources system, and project tools without extra logins. The identity provider did the hard work of proving who you are, but each application still decides what you can do inside it. This layered approach balances convenience with control, ensuring that one successful login does not automatically give you full access everywhere. The proof that travels between systems is usually called a token or an assertion, In Security Assertion Markup Language, it is literally called a SAML assertion. In OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect, it is usually a JSON Web Token, also called a JWT. A JSON Web Token is a compact digital message that contains facts such as who the user is and what permissions they have. It is signed digitally so the receiving application can confirm it has not been tampered with. Tokens and assertions are like digital passports. Just as a passport lets you cross international borders because it was issued by a trusted government, tokens allow you to cross between different applications because they were issued by a trusted identity provider. The passport analogy is helpful because, just like physical passports, tokens can expire, can be stolen, and must be carefully verified. If someone steals a token before it expires, they could impersonate you in the same way a stolen passport could be misused. That is why token security is so important. Tokens should be short-lived and passed only over secure connections. If a token is too long-lived or passed insecurely, it creates an opening for attackers. Organizations must design their systems to renew tokens frequently and limit how much damage a stolen one could cause. This principle, sometimes described as least privilege, ensures that even if a token is misused, the harm is limited. The final piece of this foundation is how tokens are protected through signing and verification. When the identity provider creates a token, it attaches a digital signature using a secret key. The receiving application checks that signature against a known public key to verify the token really came from the trusted source and has not been altered. Think of it like sealing an envelope with a unique wax stamp that only one person in the world can create. If the stamp is broken or faked, you know immediately not to trust the contents. This process of signing and verifying gives confidence to every application that the proof it receives is genuine. Without this, the entire single sign-on system would collapse, since any attacker could forge a fake token and gain access. Because of that, certificate management and secure handling of signing keys are critical. These behind-the-scenes steps may not be visible to the end user, but they are what make SSO safe and trustworthy in real-world environments. When we talk about OAuth 2.0 in more detail, it is helpful to understand the main roles. The authorization server is the system that issues tokens. The resource server is the system that hosts the data or service being accessed. Imagine a library. The authorization server is the librarian who gives you a permission slip, and the resource server is the locked room of rare books you want to enter. You never give your password to the room itself. Instead, you show the slip that proves the librarian has approved your request. This separation reduces risk by keeping your credentials in one safe place. Safe usage patterns in OAuth 2.0 focus on making sure that tokens are only given to the right applications and that they are scoped to only the resources you actually need. For example, if a photo editing app asks for permission to read your contacts, that should raise a red flag. A well-designed system issues narrow tokens that grant the minimum access required. By limiting scope, even if a token is stolen, the harm it can cause is greatly reduced. This principle of least privilege is central to securing OAuth 2.0 and single sign-on in general. For beginners, the main lesson is simple. Your password should stay with the trusted identity system, not with every service you connect to. The authorization server handles your password and creates tokens as a substitute. The resource servers only trust tokens, never storing or reusing your actual password. This keeps your most sensitive information in fewer places, making it easier to protect. OAuth 2.0 has several ways, called flows, to issue tokens. Two of the most important are the implicit flow and the authorization code flow. The implicit flow was originally created for older web applications that could not keep secrets securely. In this method, the token is sent directly in the browser. While it is simple, it has many weaknesses, such as exposing the token where attackers could intercept it. This is why implicit flow is now discouraged for modern use. The authorization code flow adds a middle step. Instead of sending the token directly, the system first sends a code that can only be exchanged for a token by the right client. When combined with something called Proof Key for Code Exchange, or PKCE, it becomes even stronger. PKCE ensures that even if someone steals the code during the exchange, they cannot use it without also proving they generated the original request. This makes the authorization code flow with PKCE the gold standard for most public applications. The practical advice for learners is to remember this. If you hear about OAuth 2.0 flows, know that implicit is considered outdated and risky, while authorization code with PKCE is the modern, safer option. Most security frameworks now require or recommend this approach, especially for mobile and single-page applications where tokens must travel over untrusted networks. Once a token has been issued, the question becomes, where should it be stored on the client side? Poor token storage has led to many breaches. For example, if a token is stored in an unencrypted file or in a web browser's local storage, malware or even a malicious website could steal it. Good practice is to store tokens only in memory, where they disappear once the application is closed, or in secure storage provided by the operating system, such as a protected keychain. Another important concept is token introspection and blacklisting. Introspection means a system can check with the authorization server to see whether a token is still valid. Blacklisting means marking a token as no longer usable, for example, when a user logs out, or when a token has been suspected of theft. Together, these methods provide ways to revoke tokens early instead of waiting for them to expire. Without them, an attacker with a stolen token could keep using it until it naturally timed out, which might be too late. The core lesson for learners is that tokens are like spare keys. They can be canceled if lost, but only if the system has a way to check whether the key is still valid. Token introspection and blacklisting provide those checks. Without them, you are relying only on token expiration, which is not always enough. Single sign-on integrations must also watch for specific technical traps, such as open redirects and callback manipulation. An open redirect is when a login system can be tricked into sending a token to the wrong website. A malicious attacker could set up a fake site and capture the token if the system does not carefully validate where tokens are allowed to be sent. Callback validation ensures that tokens only go to registered, trusted destinations. Think of it like a delivery service that will only drop off a package at approved addresses, never at a random door. Conditional access is a way of making single sign-on smarter. Instead of simply allowing or denying access based on a password, the system considers context. For example, the identity provider may allow logins from an office location but challenge logins from another country. It can also check device health, such as whether antivirus software is running, or consider risk scores based on unusual behavior. Conditional access policies reduce false trust and apply stronger checks when situations look suspicious. Monitoring is equally important. Anomalous behavior can indicate misuse or attack attempts. For example, a sudden wave of failed logins might suggest a brute force attack. Tokens with strange attribute values, such as granting permissions far beyond what is normal, can signal tampering. Even successful logins should be watched if they happen from unusual places or at unusual times. By monitoring these signs, organizations can act before damage occurs. Finally, no system is perfect, so incident response planning is vital. If tokens are stolen, they must be revoked. If keys are compromised, they must be rotated quickly. Applications may need to be re-provisioned with new trust settings. The faster these steps are taken, the less damage attackers can do. Strong governance also supports this process, with clear policies for app onboarding, required security controls, and periodic compliance reviews to ensure systems remain healthy over time. The overall message is that single sign-on is not just about convenience. It is a powerful system that brings both opportunity and risk. Secure implementations use modern protocols, enforce multi-factor authentication, rely on short-lived tokens, and include strong monitoring and operational procedures. With these practices in place, SSO can greatly improve both user experience and organizational security. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.